guys, welcome to this week's video. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and if you're already subscribed, welcome back. Today we're going to be learning about molecules and ions. We're going to define them and talk about their importance in chemistry. Let's get into today's lesson. If you're watching this video right now, chances are you have access to some sort of electronic device and service. Some people don't have this privilege, which is why I started this campaign, Data for Distance Learning. India has already reopened schools, but most of them are going completely online. One school in particular, Government Girls Higher Secondary School, located in the town of Poigai in Vellore, Tamil Nadu, needs our help. There are 500 students, many of which are children of weavers or daily wage workers who have been hit hard by the pandemic and aren't making much business. This means they can't pay for the data that their children need in order to attend their online classes. It would cost 2,400 rupees for 1 year of data in each household. That's a little over $30 US. We want to help 100 students, which means we need to raise $3,000 in total. If you could donate even just a little and share this video with all your friends, it would make a great difference in these students' lives. A molecule is made up of at least two atoms that are being held together by chemical forces or bonds. They can be made up of the same element or different elements. This means that H2, which makes up hydrogen gas, is just as much of a molecule as H2O, which makes up water. One thing to be wary of, however, is not to mix up two H and H2. When a number is to the left of an element and it isn't in superscript, it means there are two individual atoms of hydrogen. When the number is to the right and in superscript, it means there are two hydrogen atoms and they are bonded together to form a molecule. This applies to all elements, not just hydrogen. Another thing you should know are the terms diatomic and polyatomic molecules. If you know your prefixes, it's easy to understand what it means. Di means two, so diatomic molecules are molecules made up of only two atoms. These atoms could come from the same element, like H2, or they can come from different elements, like CO. Poly means many, so polyatomic molecules are made up of 3 or more atoms. Once again, these can be from the same element, like O3, or different elements, like H2O. Now let's talk about ions. An ion is an atom or group of atoms that has a positive or negative charge. This can happen when there's more or less electrons than there are protons, causing an imbalance of charges. If there's less electrons than there are protons, it's called a cation. Come in.
I need help too.
Wait, I got a joke for you. Why is it called a cation?
Why?
Because it has a positive charge. Okay, so what did you want to tell me?
Never mind.
Yeah, I know that was a pretty cheesy joke, but it is a good way to remember cations. Na+ is an example of a cation because it has 11 protons but only 10 electrons, giving it a positive charge. An anion is just the opposite. There are more electrons than there are protons, so there's an overall negative charge. Cl- is an example of this because it has 17 protons and 18 electrons, giving it a negative charge. Na+ and Cl- combine to make the neutral NaCl, which we know as table salt. This is called an ionic compound because it's a compound formed from ions. Pretty simple. Some other terms you should know are monatomic ions and polyatomic ions. Mono means one, so that means monatomic ions contain only one atom, like Mg2+. Poly, as we already covered, means many, so polyatomic ions in this case contain two or more atoms, like OH-. Let's go over some ions to make sure we fully understand this. Look at P3-. P, or phosphorus, has 15 protons. 3- lets us know that there is a negative charge of 3. To get a negative charge, we have to add electrons. So this ion of phosphorus has 15 plus 3 electrons. or 18 electrons in total. How about you try one? How many electrons does Ti4+ have? I'll give you a hint. There's 22 protons. Pause the video right here to think of your answer. Let's see if you're right. 4+ lets us know that there's 4 less electrons than there are protons. So we're subtracting 4 from 22. That means there's 18 electrons, once again. Did you get it right? Let's review what we learned today with my brother Arjun. A molecule is 2 or more atoms that are being held together through chemical bonds. They can be made of the same or different elements. If they're made of only 2 atoms, they're called
Diatomic.
And if they're made up of 3 or more, they're called
Polyatomic.
Good. Now let's talk about ions. Ions are an atom or several atoms that are positively or negatively charged. This is because they have more or less
Electrons.
If they're a positively charged ion, they're called
Cations.
and if they're a negatively charged ion, they're called
Anions.
If they're made up of only one atom, they're called a
Monatomic ion.
and if they're made up of 2 or more, they're called
Polyatomic ion.
If you liked today's video, be sure to share it to your friends so they can learn too. Here's our question of the day. What's the difference between 8s and S8? Post your answers in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more videos every week.